And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Jason Ricks of the Living a Purposeful Lifestyle show. We do it here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Today, I am so pumped. I've got a special guest to share with all of you. He is a entrepreneur, a lover of people, an apparel juggernaut that's going to rival FUBU in 2 years. I give you Tony Santillanes. We've practiced this at least 7 times, and this Southern guy still can't get it right. So I apologize for that. But Tony, so happy to have you. Welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to let everybody know that I don't have a filter going on. My kids say I look like Abraham Lincoln. And so if you're getting that, it's just what it is. I think they're a little off base, but that's what they say. So
yeah, we're just missing the black hat. I mean, if we had the black hat, we'd have it nailed, right?
You bet.
So Tony, so you know what the show's about. You've tuned in for several weeks now. Walk us through. We love to hear, and we love to preface the audience with Tony's backstory. So why don't you walk us through, when it all started for you, and kind of walk us through and tell us your story.
That's so cool to start off that way because everybody has a story, and we sometimes, I think, forget that in our everyday lives. We think that we're the only ones, going through something, and it's literally everybody. So, when I'm thinking about myself and my background and how I've gotten to where I am today, I have a memory of a good friend of mine. We were just out of high school, and he was helping me, make some money. He was bidding jobs for carpentry jobs, roofing jobs, and that sort of thing. And after one of the jobs, because I was just terrible at most, I was a helper at best. And so we got through with one of the jobs, and I remember vividly still sitting at the end of the dirt road from the house that we left. And I literally told him, I don't know what I'm good at. I didn't think I was really good at anything. I didn't have a skill set per se. And so it's almost sometimes what you're not good at will help you determine what you are good at. So that's a memory that I have. It took me a really long time to still figure out things that I was good at. So I think there are hints, and there are sometimes things that are hidden a little bit that we know we're good at, but we don't want to admit it, or it's not as obvious to us because I can't be good at that. I want to be good at something else. So, long story kind of short, moved up. I grew up in Oklahoma and moved up to Wyoming and worked at a uranium mine for about 12 years. And I was able to become a supervisor out there. And that was a pretty good accomplishment. And what it really taught me is that I can be a leader and I can be an example to others. And what makes a good leader, I think, is knowing the strengths of your team and using those strengths of individuals collectively. And so I got a lot of good help and training and just friendships that helped me in that direction. But the uranium market has been down for quite a few years now. So in 2018, I got laid off and, decided that I got it decided for me that it was time to find a different job. And I did really quickly. Almost so quick that it didn't allow me to appreciate the difficulty of getting a job sometimes. And so I got that position, and it was a good job. It just wasn't the right fit for the company as far as I was concerned. And so my wife and I had decided that we wanted to move back to Oklahoma, and where I grew up, and that's where we're at now. So the story is important because all the time I thought that I could do more or wanted to do more. Am I just a uranium miner? I think we put labels on ourselves at times of this is what we are because this is the job that I have. And so through my friend, mentor, and pastor, he invested in me, and he helped me through a relationship with God find myself, who I was created to be.
So let me stop you for a minute there. So walk me through, how you built that relationship with that pastor, because, those relationships are built usually over some pretty deep conversations, right? I mean, I can look back over several that I've had with pastors in my life, and, every time it seemed like they really went to that next level, it was usually over a pretty hard time in my life where you were looking for somebody to kind of shepherd you through, and those people step in. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. And I'm glad you asked that, because there's a pretty important part that I've missed. I don't necessarily find a coincidence, but we were attending his church, and it was a plant church that he started, and we happened to find out through some mutual friends that he was starting it, and we went there. And so the relationship was really started by us attending his church, of course. But when I was we knew the layoffs were coming because they had been going on for a few years in small increments. And it was likely that I would be one of the ones that, was going to be severed. And so in this time, he just told me, he's like, hey, I need to meet with you. I want to meet with you for 3 straight Fridays. He's like, it doesn't matter when, but we just have to do it, in 3 consecutive, don't skip any. And it was in this time that, because he stepped forward for whatever, I think it was just his obedience, and he saw an opportunity to, invest in me, to help me. Whatever the case was, it was him that initiated it at first. And it was in a time that I was really struggling, because it's hard to leave a job after 12 years, and just to have him there. And there were signs that were pointing to me, because we do not want to let go of that security, right? We have that security. We don't want to let go. We trust everything that we can see, and we don't want to let go of that. So really, that's when the relationship really started, was him stepping forward and saying, I'm going to invest in this guy. And around that same time, he just called me a diamond in the rough, and I don't know what he really saw, but I'm thankful he did, because he's invested. And so
I think he saw what all of us see, Tony, and that is a guy that's humble, that wants to do good, help people, and just add value to the world. So, the thing is a lot of times we don't see our own greatness and our own genius, if you will. And sometimes we have to have good people point that out. I mean, I really struggle with accepting recognition and appreciation, even on the platform, in my personal life, in my business life. When someone would say, man, you really kicked it, you knocked it out of the park, I didn't know how to respond to that. I just always felt like if you responded in well, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do, or whatever, that it comes across very braggadocious, or very not in a very glamorous, or not glamorous, but in a humble way, right? Like, I don't do what I do for all these accolades. I do it because I love people. And when you love people, good things happen. So I think the pastor just saw those same type of traits and those same type of things in you, and you just needed someone to point it out to you, Tony. So you've had this meeting with the pastor, you built a strong bond, he's working with you, you're going through this uranium. So take me back there. What happens next?
So it was a huge turning point for me, because we are meeting, and one of the cool things for me was, because they were letting me go with a severance package, which is really, generous and helpful for sure. And man, as simple as I think I am, I consider myself the overcomplicate king. Self-proclaimed, of course, but I will overcomplicate just about anything. And that had significance into my story as well. But we would eat over, or we would meet over breakfast. And so the first one, I'm struggling, man. Like, I am just tearing between, should I try to keep this job or should I move forward? And he's like, wait, so you either get money or you keep the job? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what's the problem? And, to us, because we look at the problem so close that we often don't, we need somebody to bring in perspective. And I was like, what's the problem? To me, it was the biggest problem I could have dealt with. And to him, it's like, okay. So it was that kind of, made me set up and feel good about it now. Like, I've been distraught and just thinking about it constantly. And when you do that, you miss all kinds of opportunities. So we go through this, and it's, I believe it's a Thursday afternoon, and I get the call to basically be laid off. And so on the way to the meeting, I'm driving a vehicle, and a brand new song comes on from my favorite band on the radio. And one of the lines in the song is "No Turning Back." And I mean, I get, goosebumps still, because I don't know how to explain that stuff. It was just that moment. And so the next time we met, I was telling him about that story, and he's like, well, that's your sign. And we're eating breakfast at this small little restaurant in Casper, Wyoming. And this former coworker who I had been communicating with about the new job, the future job, he came and sat next to us at breakfast at the table next to us. And I'm like, that's the guy I've been texting with about the new job. And he's like, well, that's your confirmation. And I've just never really had that perspective before. And I believe it's one of these things where we just go through life just as a robot almost. And we're not looking for anything outside of ourselves. And it was really the first time I had experienced somebody kind of pointing this stuff out to me. Like, first of all, what's your problem? Second of all, look at these things. Third of all, let's move forward. And so that was really the centerpiece and the thing I look back at. What's, I needed that time at the Uranium Mine to grow up and to learn about myself a little bit, but it was time to move forward. And I just needed somebody to kind of push me that direction and say, you're all right. And that's his message all the time to me. And it's one of the messages I try to tell everybody. It doesn't matter where you're at in your life today. It's okay. You're not going to get where you need to be in a year today. And that message means so much to me.
Yeah, and I want to really highlight this, Tony, because I think this is so critical. So for all you out there that are, say, under the age of 30, I want to give you a special message. And Tony, man, you could have set it up better. You do not have to have life figured out. You don't. Okay, there's a lot of societal pressure right now that by the time you're 25, you should have it all figured out. You do not have to have it all figured out. You don't. In fact, I would tell you that if you think that you're 30 years old and you have figured life out, you haven't lived enough, because it just doesn't work that way. And I think that people need to feel that it's okay to learn and to go through different trials and different times of life, and that what you're looking for is that each stage in life that you're working hard to use that for a springboard or a stepping stone to the next stage of life. in this situation, that was a huge stepping stone for you. And we're going to continue on your journey here. But I just wanted to take a second because that's very powerful what you said there, that you do not have to have it all figured out, and it's okay to have questions. So sorry, it's something that's very important to point out, because I think that in today's society we just have so much pressure that by 25 you got to have your partner figured out, you got to have your job figured out, you've got to have all this work done, and life doesn't work that way. And in fact, I would tell you that when I look back on it, some of my biggest growth happened in my 30s to set up. I'm in my early 40s now, and I'm really thankful for quite honestly, a lot of the mistakes I made, because I learned so much from, and it also helps me relate so much with the people that I lead. So you get through this kind of where you've come to terms with it. Now you're going to do something great with it. So what happens next, Tony?
Well, I mean, just typical me. I'm still doubting things or whatever. I'm good at the job that I got, and a lot of it's just because attention to detail, and I'm not mechanically inclined. I don't have a lot of carpentry skills, so my window is pretty small. But it just, it wasn't the right company for me. And deep down, I knew it, but it's that security thing that we hang on to a little bit. And so, and with a wife and a family, I need to provide that security as well. But we go to work a lot of times miserable. And I really feel like there's a lot of people that do that. And they just go through this routine, and like my friend says, we just basically pass out in bed and do it all over again. And so I moved to Oklahoma, and I was pretty sure I was going to get the same type of job, the same position, but with a different company. And I'll tell you what, man, I went into these interviews just a little too sure that was going to happen. And I don't believe that I gave a good impression in some of these interviews, and it was an awakening for me, because I didn't get the jobs that I expected to get, and I had nobody to really blame but myself. But I didn't really know that at the time. You think, oh, I'm a good candidate, you need to promote yourself, but I just, looking back, I did it the wrong way. And so I have a CDL, and I got a job delivering propane, and that paid some bills, but it was not my thing. It was not my cup of tea at all. And that is another, I haven't lost communication or contact with my friend and my mentor at this time. He's been helping me. And I'm pretty sure that every time that he thinks that he's put it simple enough, I still amaze him and somehow overcomplicate it. And you know what? Every single time, it's all right. It's okay. Because I'm an introvert. Even though I can talk to people and I can love people, I'm an introvert. And so I get in my own head. And that's the worst place that you can be. But so many of us don't want to put ourselves out there and talk with somebody and invest in somebody or ask for help, especially men. A lot of times we think we can figure it out on our own, and I get stuck, and so he's just helped me, scratch and claw my way out each time. So ultimately I did get I kept applying for the job that I wanted, that I knew that I was good at. And I actually got it last February 3rd. So it's just been over a year. And it was such a relief and so humbling going from, I really needed reset and kind of just like, hey, let's go. And I had applied for, this is a huge point. I had applied for a lot of jobs because I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can make a difference over here. Or maybe I can make a difference here. But we are wired a certain way. I tried out for a plumbing outfit, a bunch of great guys. That was dumb. I'm not a plumber. I shouldn't have been with those guys for 10 minutes, let alone 2 days. And so I ended up getting the job, and I was so thankful, and I still am nearly every day that I go to work. The difference this time was I had, through mentorship and through a relationship with God, I had found myself that I didn't get value from this job anymore. And there's a whole, other part of that. But at that point, now I can go, I'm not just a, pipeline controller. I am Tony, who happens to do this for a living, but I've got a whole nother purpose because I've learned about myself. And so, I've been told, and I believe this, that we need to love ourselves, I believe, before we can really love others. Now, we can be nice and we can make a difference. And so the question is, how do you love yourself if you don't really know yourself? And I think
hold on. Let that simmer for a minute. Man. Wow, what a big statement. So for everyone out there watching, just let that sink in a minute. How do you love yourself if you don't know yourself? That's big. I don't know if you really realize how powerful of a statement that is. So go ahead. I just want to let that marinate for a quick second before you continue.
Yeah, no problem, man. And I've never thought of that. We think we know ourselves. But and again, I give a lot of credit to my friend, mentor, and pastor who's invested in me and has taught me this. He's like there's rock star NBA players and there's rock star NFL. My friend's a rock star pastor and friend.
Can you tell us who this guy is? I mean, let's give this guy some praise, right?
So James Shade, goes by Jim, is a pastor at the Fort Ministry in Mills, Wyoming. It's just outside of Casper, or part of Casper, Wyoming.
So James Shade, my man, I know you're going to see this whether you're live with us now or whether you watch the YouTube later. James Shade, you're the man. Thank you for being intentional. Thank you for being passionate, and thank you for having purpose to pour into Tony's life and to make the difference. Go ahead, Tony, but we needed to make sure we give Mr. Shade all the credit that he deserves.
Yeah, he does. I know that he would say and give the credit to God because he would mess everything up, but because of who he is, he's able to do that. And he's poured that into me as well. So I had to learn about myself, and that's why I'm big on personality tests like the Enneagram. I know what type I am. I know what triggers, some bad moods sometimes. I know what my wife is like. I mean, we've been married for 12 years and we're learning more about each other now than we had, because it's just on a deeper level. And she can now say, oh, my husband's not that big of a jerk. He was just had other things going on, or whatever the case may be. So I think that so many of us struggle with loving ourselves, and not in, like you were talking, like a bad way, but just being okay with who we are, because we are wired to be exactly who we're supposed to be. And
exactly right. We just have to get out of our own way sometime, right?
Yes.
So before we keep going, I want to take a quick second. So, man, we've got a lot of people joining us. So Bonnie Strominger with CU, Bill Weber is joining us for the first time. Bill, I'm glad you're finally able to join us. Joe Norman, June Lopez, Tim Young. Really want to give all of you some major thanks for showing up today and supporting us and communicating. A couple of things that came up I thought was interesting. So Bonnie, owns her own. She created this dynamic new lid that goes on top of beverage, and you can put snacks and other things inside of that, so you have it all where you can carry it. It's going to make a huge difference at ballparks and things like that as we get back out of COVID. But she said, I didn't even develop that till I was 40. And Tim Young talked about adding fuel to the fire, about really discovering who he is in his 40s. And so I just wanted to share all that great news. Like, all of you guys are helping make the show better and to share and to help other people. So I just wanted to stop what we're doing for just a quick second and acknowledge all of you and tell you how much we love you and appreciate you being here. So you're talking, Tony, about becoming comfortable with who you are and accepting that, and how that made a difference with your wife at home. So and I'm guessing this has been going on for what, about a year and a half, 2 years?
Close to 2 years.
So if I've got to believe that dynamic change over the 2 years, my guess is that your marriage has greatly improved from the 10 that you had initially. You said that y'all been married about 12 years, right? So I'm guessing that the communication, the way that y'all were able to communicate, it greatly helped that.
For sure, man. I mean, it's obviously not perfect, and I'm not going to sit here and, try to pretend that it is, but just, I'll give you an example. My wife on this Enneagram is a 6. So she kind of looks at the worst case scenario of everything. And guys, I think generally don't. So for example, if my kids are out playing basketball in the driveway, my wife's thinking, if the ball goes in the street, they could get hit by a car. And I'm like, hurry up and go get the ball, or something like that. And it's just how we're wired. And there's nothing wrong with how she's wired. There's nothing wrong with how I am wired. It's just how it is. And so just knowing that about yourself, and knowing that, like, for me, I like everything perfect. And I realize we don't live in a perfect world, but if one thing kind of is out of place or messed up, and I don't take care of that one thing, then I'll have issues with littler things. And it just makes such a huge difference in a marriage, being a dad and all that stuff, And so it's important for me to know me and know that, I was built, I was created to make a difference. And that's why I created the company, because I needed it so simple that I thought, hey, maybe somebody else needs it just as simple, because we're not just a manager, and we're not just a dad, and all these things. We have so much more to offer that we don't even realize it. But it doesn't have to be financially, and it doesn't have to be time. And it simply is engaging with each other as you go. And so for me, I've been pretty sarcastic for most of my life, and I still can be, but I realize the impact that words can have on people. We grow up and we're taught that words don't matter, and, they can't hurt us. And I don't believe that anymore. And in a time where, for most of my life, I would use my words to hurt people, and looking back, it's probably because I wasn't as secure with myself as I would have hoped. That now that I'm okay, and if you dog on me, I'm okay. If you give me praise, it's the same thing. Like, I don't let one, impact me more than the other, because as long as, my credit I give the glory to God, because he is the one that created me, and he doesn't make mistakes. I make mistakes, but he doesn't. So he created me to be this way. So I get this job, man, and I know I'm kind of bouncing, but that's just how it goes.
It's all right.
I get this job last year, and I'm walking through the mall, and I just happened to go by one of the kiosks, and they sell the cell phone accessories, and I needed a screen protector. And so I'm like, all right, man, if you could replace my screen protector. So it's kind of a little bit of a social experiment, maybe, to hand somebody your phone in this day and age for 5 minutes and see if you engage with them or not. Are you gonna, because you can't just look at your phone like we're used to. And so I don't remember how old he was, man, but he was like 20 or 21, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make a difference in this kid's life. I'm gonna go get this kid. I'm gonna give him the best. And man, it turned around on me. This kid impacted me. and I wasn't really expecting that. And I can't really explain it. I was just going through a transition in my life where, I had got the job I wanted, but I wasn't that wasn't what was defining me anymore. And so I just was on top of the world. So I came home and I busted out a poem. And I know Brad Norwood's like, read the poem, and I can if you want, but
no, you got to read the poem. You got to read the poem. So
okay, so I come home and I bust this thing out, and I'm like, I'm pretty good at writing. Like, if I worked at it more, I'd definitely be better. Practice does help. But I put this thing together, and I wasn't embarrassed anymore. So like we had a guy installing our security system at our home, and I'm like, hey, can I read a poem to you? And because I got him, man, he's in my area, so it's like I'm gonna put into him and try to help him while he's there. And he's like, cool, and I read it to my mom, and they're like, oh, awesome. And that's your mom, so they're always gonna say how good your stuff is. And anyways, I would just read it, because most of the time I would write something and I'd keep it here, because the insecurity that I'm talking about, or the opinions of people, whatever it is, I'm just like, don't care anymore, because I'm not gonna get my value whether they love it or they hate it. I'm just doing my part. And I think that's such a key, is I'm okay with myself, that I can engage with others. And of course they have to want to engage back, but if they don't, I'm okay. I'm not taking it personal. It's just not their day to day. But, I really try to speak to the people that don't think that they have time to make a difference, or they don't think that they have anything to offer, because it truly is about just simple engagement. And, I think about some of your employees on Smile Files, which I love, by the way, and what makes them different. And it's got to, in my opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's got to be the fact that they're not just going to work and going through the motions and just wanting to earn a paycheck and ready to go home. It's because they're engaged with the employer, with the customers. And LinkedIn's the same way. The more you engage, the more you get out of it. And that's what I'm trying to bring the message to as you go, is it's just about engagement. It's nothing more. It's just, I'll give you a couple examples. I've seen a couple different cashiers or at restaurants. A lot of the tags say that they're training. And so it's up to me at that moment. Am I a rude customer? And do I bring, chaos to their situation that they're already nervous? Or do I say, hey, you're okay. You're doing great. Thank you so much. And make a difference in their day right then. And so that's really what it's all about. We're so busy and we think we don't have anything to offer. And it's not that at all. It's just noticing the person, because they all have a story. And I want everybody to feel like they matter. So I think
that Bonnie makes a great point on that. She just posted there, Tony, about, having that kind of a mindset is so relevant, even in social media, where we're not looking for our own validation from others, that we're not worried about the validation for others. We're doing it to impact and help others, but we're not going to rise and fall with that. So, and I think you're speaking that truth right now with regards to how you interact with people out and about, and just your everyday life. About, you decide with every interaction of, am I going to add value or am I going to take value? Am I going to breathe life into people or am I going to suck life into people? The Smile Files thing started for me as a way to just recognize people that were doing a great job. And what I came to realize was, believe it or not, I I got as much out of recognizing and taking the pictures with them and seeing the smile on their face when I go in somewhere now, and they all know about it. So when I go in and say, hey, you're the smallest files person of the day, they do their little happy dance, and it's so much fun. So I just wanted to share that with you, that you brought that up, and I probably haven't talked publicly a whole lot about smile files. It just hasn't really come up, but smile files is probably the best part of my weeks each day. There's a different person, and that's done in real time. So usually those I'll either gather them today for tomorrow, or it's shot that morning and then I write the narrative that morning, and it just, that's how it goes. But I want to kind of move us forward, because I want to give us some time to talk about As You Go. You kind of mentioned it. So your company is As You Go. So where did you what happened to where you're like, you know what? As You Go, that's my company, and I'm going to start putting it on shirts, or I'm going to do things with it. How did that happen?
I think just, it's one of these things where I think it was there a lot longer before I realized it, type of thing. Like it was back in the, back of my mind, because, studying the Bible and everything, we think we just have to, I'll give examples of Jesus, man. Like some of his stories were as he was walking and as he was going, and it wasn't this big planned event. A lot of times it was just as, and so, I feel like, it just suited me because I needed it that simple. And I exercise this muscle, right? Trying to make an impact. And I guarantee you, I miss opportunities all the time. And I'm actually trying to, be a difference to people. So I think that I overcomplicated it. I would like, should I stop on the side of the road and try to help some stranger? And, I would not advise any woman to do that. I tried picking up a hitchhiker the other day, and my wife about had it, man. And it was kind of scary. So I'm like, there's not so much As You Go anymore. Let's just get back to basics, and so, I just feel for these people, but we're not able to do a lot of the things that people really need, but we can do it as we go, man. And it's just, geez, once you kind of, lift your eyes up and open your eyes and realize that there's so much potential out there to bring value to somebody's day, it gives you purpose, whether you think you need it or not, or, I'm just a, carpenter or whatever you are. You're not, man. You're somebody created to make a difference, if that's what you choose to do. And that's
you said, and I'm sorry, like, this is really important to me. I love how you said that. When people say, oh, I'm just a cashier, or I'm just a carpenter, or, well, I'm just basically what they're saying is, I'm just a peon, I'm nobody.
Mm-hmm.
No, everybody is somebody. And we as a society, and we as a people, and we as a world can't do it if we don't have the guy that's just the carpenter showing up to build houses. We don't have shelter. If we don't have the gal that's just a cashier to show up and ring things up, we don't have a business. We don't have the ability to go buy things and to feed our families. Everyone matters. It takes all of us doing our part to make the world go round. And it's time that we appreciate that everyone has their own values and their own strengths and their own greatness that helps make the world go round. So I love that moment. So I'm sorry, but I had to say that there. So
it's what it is. And it's really the basics of, what I believe is God's greatest creation, and that's us. And we can either choose to lift people up, or we can choose to put people down. It's really either one, or you can stay neutral, I guess. But I want to be the person that builds people up, and like your smile files, man, you engage with somebody, you don't know how that's going to turn back on you. I thought I was going to, pour into this gentleman at the mall, and he changed it around, got me writing a poem, and you know, got me thinking, hey, words on a shirt, a constant reminder that I want to inspire you and encourage you, but I want you to take that inspiration and engage with each other. So it's really twofold, because you can help people and be broken and hurt, but man, you start to when you love yourself and you like yourself and you know yourself, then you can really start to pour into others even more. So it really is twofold. And I just want people to, know that they matter, because we all have that story, man.
So what all do you put the As You Go? I just to be clear, so As You Go is an apparel company, and I think you're in talking to you and getting to know you, the whole idea is as people see that logo, it resonates with be the light, be a sunshine in someone's dark day, all those things that we've spent the last 40 minutes talking about. Talk to me about how people can help your mission. How can people help you to get that mission out there by supporting you?
Man, okay, so t-shirts are my main strategy, because I believe that I can read a book, or I can watch a sermon on Facebook or YouTube, and 10 minutes later I may forget most of that. So I'm trying to provide that simple reminder. Right now my biggest strategy is t-shirts. But if you need if you're like, I'm not going to buy a t-shirt, that's fine with me too. Maybe tune into the Fort Ministry on Facebook and watch the guy that has inspired me and poured into me. And he just got a different way of saying things. And I think we could all use more positivity in our lives. So for me, I'm just starting out, but my logo is the big part. So I want people to be able to recognize that As You Go. Oh, it's outdoor brand-ish, I guess, but it could be as you scroll, man, through Facebook, share a post or whatever. But for me, it's the t-shirts with a simple encouraging phrase on it. One shirt says "Make a Difference." That's the most popular selling shirt right now. Share your hope. I just don't believe that if you have hope, you should keep it to yourself. And so that's my biggest thing right now. That's what people can do. Or come and connect with me, man. I don't have imposter syndrome. I have poster syndrome. I want to connect with every poster on there, man. I'm just like, and hopefully I can get something from them and I can feed value to them. I'm just really trying to connect with people and make a difference.
Yeah. So I didn't tell you I was going to do this. I kind of made it as a surprise. So here's what we're going to do. So y'all have been, the audience, y'all have been so, man, amazing. Like every week the show has gotten bigger. Today is show 6. And I want to do something to give back. And I'm going to help Joe out here. So what I'm going to do is everyone who's commented today's show. So if you're out there and you haven't commented, you got till the end of the show to get a comment in. I'm going to go through all of those and I'm going to pull a lucky name out and I'm going to send you an As You Go t-shirt. So we'll get sizes and kind of give you, let you pick what you want. I want, it does me no good to send you a t-shirt that you're not going to wear. The whole point of this is that you'll wear the t-shirt and you'll remember being here with Tony and I, and hopefully the impact that the show had on you. Obviously, we're going to have to kind of get to a stopping point here, but, one thing I always ask Tony is, there's somebody going to watch this out there that's struggling, maybe where you were when you're going through facing that layoff at the uranium plant and knowing that that's coming and feeling hopeless, feeling like there's nothing that's going to be nothing good come of it, right? Talk to that person and tell them, give them some advice on how to refine their passion and their purpose.
Well, first and foremost, mental health is such a huge issue. Reach out to somebody. I know it's hard, but if it's me, just give me an opportunity to listen. I'm not that great at it, but I can always practice. And the problems that we see are sometimes so close to us that we need that other perspective to to just help us, to guide us. The one thing that I believe we all need is intimacy, and it's the one thing we don't know how to give or get a lot of times. And so just give somebody the opportunity, because your circumstances are just for a period of time. It's just a season, and there's so much more that you can do. And if you're feeling down, go help somebody, because a lot of times that would make me feel better as well.
Awesome. Well, Tony, listen, brother, I mean, this has truly been an honor. And
Me too.
And I got to tell you, I believe in what you're doing. If I can help you in any way as we go forward, I'm always one phone call away. And I just want you to know, based upon the comments, I mean, the comments have been insane. This really is resonating with people, and there's a lot of people out here sharing their love with you. I don't know if you saw them all as they kind of scrolled across the screen there, but you've got your heart in the right place, and just know you got a lot of people pulling for you, and that's all. So for everyone else, just want to say thanks again for tuning in to the Living a Purposeful Lifestyle show today. I look forward to seeing you back again next Wednesday at 3 p.m. with another amazing guest. Until then, continue to live with passion and purpose. Thank you so much.